Let's talk to Lyra.
Adventurer, Kane, come quickly. Refugees from Ashwold have just arrived.
Thank you for your aid. Gods, we didn't know where else to turn. The undead are rising from their graves. My wife and I could only flee in fear.
This cannot be coincidence. Darkness is spreading once again. You must obtain the Worldstone Shard as quickly as you can. Once you have them, meet me in Westmarch. It will be far safer to destroy the shards there, I assure you.
Very well. I will join you as soon as I am able.
Okay, so we gotta find some more shards. Apparently that's a little disconnect icon. Good to know. There is something that I unlocked on my other characters, or rather on my barbarian, and I think it's worth noting, which is that they have one of the things that they're going to add essentially into the game is a battle pass, and I'm really excited to show you guys what that might be, because it's an interesting concept for a Diablo game, in my opinion. Also, as of this point, we have opened up the multiplayer option. So we have a little chat down here. It's nice. I think it's cool to be able to have a little chat, and you can just type it in. So you can also see who's online for all sorts of different things, which is really nice. Another thing to point out is now we have rewards. So, for example, equipment hoarder that you see there, collect 20 items. It's kind of nice. And we could just, claim these rewards that we've gotten. It won't unlock more stuff to this, but it just gives us a bit of extra gold, which is obviously quite good because it's it's allowing us to upgrade some items.
It's good to see you well, friend.
So let's go ahead, and by the way, at the bottom here, you have a salvage all, so I could just select that and salvage, which is quite nice.
My forge is yours, friend.
Let's go explore some. One thing I want to mention since the last episode, obviously I've had the opportunity to edit that and upload it and see how it looks on YouTube and everything. And now I want to point out that the game looks significantly better on my phone than it does as a YouTube video. And that's obviously because you're scaling this tiny little screen to 1080p. And while the screen of the iPhone 11 is quite high resolution, you're still missing out on the detail because it's just such a small screen. So like you're able to get away with not necessarily having super sharp anti-aliasing, which is the thing that kind of makes edges jaggy or not. So that's something to consider. All right, let's pop into here. So we have a codex, as you saw. So now we have collect 20 items, so we can claim that, get a bunch of extra stuff, and XP, which is quite nice, obviously. And there's daily rewards. So these are from just doing various things. For us, the first thing we get is a chest and 300 platinum. And obviously you get more rewards as you go. That's pretty basic, like mobile stuff. I'm not too concerned about that in any sense, but it is what it is. It wants to teach me about my ultimate skills, which I kind of already learned about, and I'm pretty happy with our skills thus far, so we're just going to keep them as is. I don't know how much I'll be doing in regards to editing my skills for like the next 10 levels, honestly. I did play quite a bit of the barb. I'm like level 30 on my barb now. And it feels really good to play. Like, I definitely am doing a lot more damage. Oh, also, you saw I picked up a conduit orb. Now, obviously, that works like a conduit pylon does in Diablo 3. So just kind of keeps that in mind. It's little orbs now, so it just makes it a little easier to manage. So you're not having to like click shrines or pylons. I'm curious how that's going to work in a rift sense. Like, based on certain percentages of clears in a rift, are we going to get orbs to spawn for that? Because that'd be kind of cool. It basically is the same concept, just different execution. Man, I like that ability quite a lot. Seven-sided strike's a lot of fun too. Oh, there was another rare group down there. Heck yeah. I like farming these guys out. Also, you see the shrine here. Like, it's not an existence of no shrine. It just means... I wonder if Waller allows me to bounce off of it with the dash. That'd be kind of cool. I'm gonna aim that right. Can I hit this? Powered shrine. Cool. Like, shrines still exist, but having conduit pop out of an orb is pretty good. What's over here? Another rare guy. Oh, it's part of the group. I see. Die, direwolf. I think we got a bunch of upgrades here, so let's go ahead and swap these out. Ooh, it says that that is better. It's 5 willpower. Willpower is probably going to be better for us. The strength probably would be better for us, but I'm going to swap that out for the health. We'll put a cap on. Wow, that cap looks very funny. Is there a way to hide helm? Oh, goodness. I look silly. One piece of feedback I have is, right, like I see the buff above my head for the Empowered Shrine, but the icon for it is underneath my name on the left, or underneath my health bar on the left over there. And I'll tell you what, on an iPhone 11, that sucker is impossible to see the progress on. I have no idea how far along it was. It's just impossible to see. So it needs to be a little bit bigger. See, we've come across our first player. It's Bubba. Hey, Bubba. This is just how it works. And by the way, this is how Diablo 4 works. At least in the state that we played at BlizzCon 2019.
No. Don't hurt me.
So you just come across players in the public zones and you can group with them or not.
Your help, but my husband, he's still in danger. Our home is to the northwest. He's all alone with those bandits. Please don't worry about me. Help him.
And the cool thing about like public areas and being able to run into people is that, you know, it's a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a very natural thing. Like I'm not freaking out because I have to find a group to play with to level optimally. And it's
just simple folk. We don't have anything of value.
It's something that I can naturally come across. And if I find a bunch of players that I want to play with, I can just start playing with them. And all of the loot is also, you know, individual.
1,000 blessings upon you, friend. Ashwald's always had the occasional bandit. Nothing like this, though.
I have my reasons. It seems Ashwald has become overrun with the undead.
It didn't finish the last part of that line.
Aye, the whole guard's been fighting them for weeks. My son joined up at the Crypt of Honor Dead just this morning. If you find him, I'm certain he can tell you more.
So it's at this point in my recording that my audio just like freaked out and broke. Not for the entire video, but for 2 portions of it. The way my microphone works for recording this is I had it like at a really weird angle so I could comfortably hold the phone and play the game and record at the same time. But unfortunately, my XLR cable, which is an audio cable, is going out on the microphone. So I have to get a new one. So it kind of buzzed. But I'm taking all of that out, and instead, you know, we'll just do commentary over this.
Victims of a giant spider that preys on travelers. The risen dead must have driven the beast out of the caves in the north. We've got enough problems around here. Interested in slaying a few Iraqs, adventurer? You'll be well rewarded. A survivor reported the beast was near here. Let's take a look.
So we could totally do this little side quest. It's worth it to do these side quests. It gives you a bunch of stuff. The purple mob here. We get to help Slord, which is a great name. I'm assuming that he was already here fighting it. And I'm going to help this wizard take out this spider. Yeah, I actually really like these little side quests. I think they're quite good. They allow you to gain a little bit of extra XP. And
that spider wasn't alone. Look out! And
they also let you, you know, have extra things to do. where you're able to explore a bit more in the game, where otherwise you're just kind of pushing forward on the main story. Something I talk about later in this video, where as far as like leveling is concerned and how quickly you're leveling, it really helps to have these little side quests to make it feel like you're still exploring.
So, there were 2 of them. Huh. Well, I'm certainly grateful to have a partner on this one. Here, you earned this.
Cool.
The
Level
path
13.
goes clearer.
It's pretty good. We're getting quite a bit of stuff. Now, there's also something that I want to mention as we move forward, which is that there are some interesting control things that I've noticed with the monk. So this is a bit of feedback. With the aimed abilities in particular, the longer aimed abilities, not like, you know, the dash isn't necessarily this issue, but being able to aim one of the very long abilities like this one here, I feel like it kind of catches at points where it, you know, it goes from one side of the circle to the other. And what I've noticed, and you can see this on the controls, you can see where my thumb is moving there, where it goes from where I'm on the edge over to the center, and then it flips once I get to the other side. But you don't really notice how far in the circle you are during that, right? You just are kind of trying to cast the ability. So my big feedback here is if there could be some kind of indication, a better indication of where you're at on that aiming circle. Otherwise, it just doesn't feel like it's very responsive at times. And that's the problem, is it's inconsistent. If it were consistently inconsistent, then it'd be consistent and you would kind of understand how it was working. But because, you know, you put your finger down and you start aiming in a certain direction, sometimes it kind of feels like it hangs for a second. It doesn't quite respond to your controls because it's jumping from one side to the other. And that's not great. You don't really notice it with the dashing strike stuff though. And that's for the best.
You peasant. I know her body was buried here. Where is Asilla's tomb?
The Queen's tomb was hidden. The dead deserve their rest.
Wrong answer. The dead serve me. A fact you will learn soon enough. You, it's your turn. So I suggest you speak quickly. Where is the tomb?
I don't know. None of us do. Only the Queen's handmaiden knew its location. I swear.
Lethis, stop this! Your wanton disregard for life ends here. You will be brought to justice.
Zool, how I tire of your jealous attempts to suppress my potential. Now with the power of the World Stone at my command, I will obtain true dominion over the dead. Your entire lethargic order will be swept away and replaced by one with the ambition to reshape this corrupt world. You are a relic, old man, and you are no longer needed.
She's such a cool character. Also, yeah, Zool's here. Zool being a character from, well, I would say not from, but introduced in Heroes of the Storm. Obviously, it's a character from Diablo, where they introduced the Necromancer in Heroes of the Storm, and it was Zool. They have also done this with other characters in Diablo. Like Vala is a good example. Karazhan, another good example. And like Vala's items are in Diablo 3. And I totally didn't mean to skip that there, but I did. Sometimes that happens where you fat fingered the screen. Kind of annoying.
What a day. Certainly didn't expect to get choked by some death mage when I left the stead this morning.
That death mage isn't past killing for the information she seeks. That handmaiden is in grave danger. I need you to help me, or that girl is as good as dead.
Light mercy. You're right. Wait, I know. Captain Asmir at Guard's Watch. He knows the maid. If you head there right away, there may still be time.
I think I quite enjoy how these quests are playing out and how you go from like Wortham to here, and now you're dealing with Zool, because you know, as a Diablo player, someone who enjoys Diablo, I'm like, oh, cool. it's Zool, you know? I'm not necessarily, and I've mentioned this before, but I'm not the big lore guy at Diablo fans. That's not my thing, but it is cool to be like, oh, hey, I know that guy, and to be able to relate to other characters that you are familiar with in Diablo. So it's cool. And, you know, like I said before, Vala's items are in Diablo 3. So she's also a character that was introduced in Heroes of the Storm. It's just nice to have that continuity continue on where, you know, you're being introduced to characters and then you actually get to see them to fruition in the game. I like that quite a lot. Another thing, just control-wise, that I've noticed on my character, because at the end of the day, you know, like I said, I'm not the story guy. I am more of the design guy. I have a mind for design. I'm an independent tabletop RPG developer. If you want to check out my project I'm working on right now, it's called Synthetic Neon. You can see it at syntheticneon.com. It's a cyberpunk tabletop RPG I've been working on for quite some time, and it's completely free to play right now and test and provide feedback on and everything. It's really fun. But for me, my brain works in the design space, not the lore space like Nineball does on our Diablo fans team. So just personally, I try to look out for those kind of things in games because it's what I'm interested in. And Diablo happens to be a game that is about design more than other aspects, right? So like you have the combat and the systems in particular, and how those systems interplay with each other for you to create a stronger character and character balance and how your character grows over time. That stuff comes in the form of design. So I am a student of design. I am a lover of design when it comes to games, and in particular, Diablo style games do a really good job of design, and I like it quite a bit. This part here also totally doesn't have voice acting, which is fine. You know, it is what it is. It's just it's alpha. You know, you can't expect everything to work. But I assume, just based on all of the other voice acting in the game, that this is meant to have voice acting. So you can read through it. The gist of it is that this captain wants us to get some weaponry from the blacksmith. And the blacksmith has a really funny quip where he's like, why is he sending you over here to get this? He's right there.
Need
like
something reforged?
Like
Salvaged,
he could tell you just from over there, like, hey, can I have my weapons? Right? He doesn't need to he doesn't need to have you come over here and get them. And I think it's just kind of funny writing, and I enjoy it quite a bit. Maybe that's actually why I enjoy writing in the Diablo games a lot more than some people, is because I'm not really looking for a lot of deep meaning. Not to say that Diablo games don't have a lot of deep meaning, but for me, Diablo style games are all about design, as I said before.
Good luck out
and
there.
this little salvage
Something
system where you
reforged?
could salvage all is just a perfect example of good design in a game that is all about efficiency, which I am going to talk more about now that my
Job
audio
well
is
done.
working in the rest of this. In most senses, action RPGs are games about efficiency and how efficiently you can farm stuff. So being able to do that is really nice. You're back, and with half the order no less. I wish this were enough, but more and more of these undead are rising, and my men are tired. Still, thank you. We will make do. Now I'm certain you didn't come all this way to deliver me a bundle of swords. What brings you to Guard's Watch? I'm looking for Queen Asila's former handmaiden, twice removed. The girl's life is in grave danger. Oh, you get it? Grave danger? Because we're in kind of a... No? Okay. The handmaidens? Gods. I didn't know. Look, her home isn't far, just up the trail from here, beyond the graves. I'd join you if I could, but it's all right. I understand. Don't worry. I will find her. Leveled up.
My knowledge increases.
So we have these two claim from. Heck yeah. Can enjoy that. Man, I really want to get rid of that message, but okay. But I'm not. Okay. I need to fill out that thing. I'm over here preaching about, hey, definitely do that. Definitely fill out surveys because they help the designers.
No?
Oh no,
Well,
I wanted
what
to.
can I do for you?
And at the same time, I have yet to fill it out. wanted to get a little further.
Need something reforged?
So here's what you can do with the upgrade stuff. Obviously, I selected that from the left of the screen, but you need crafting materials, and then you just go ahead and upgrade it. So I don't have enough crafting materials to upgrade this, but it would add vitality and fortitude to that piece.
Well, good luck out there.
And you can keep upgrading it, and at certain ranks, it gives you like additional stuff. So it's just kind of a cool little system for allowing you to progress your character even further. And that's something I can certainly enjoy. You know, a Diablo game is about progressing your character and how much more powerful you can get doing so. Ooh, can I dash through these walls? Let's test out. Nope, I can bounce off of it though. Good to know. Score. Let's kill Score.
Without vision, one looks but does not see.
Dash back in there. Use this. All right, now I'm getting kind of the hang of it. Let's go ahead and use our ultimate ability, because that feels good. Aha! You missed me. A Score heal? I believe we may have. This is brutal. He's got a lot of health. I am noticing a difference between the monk and the barb. That the barb feels like it does a lot more. Just by itself, like it does a lot more. There's an upcoming dungeon that we're gonna do. I call it a dungeon. I don't know if that's the proper name for it, the in-game name for it, but it's a dungeon. You have a boss and mechanics, and you go through it. It's very linear, and you can do it with people or by yourself. And man, I stomped through that with the barb. I didn't have any issues whatsoever. I don't even think I used my potion anytime in the last like 10 or 15 levels with the barb. I'm really enjoying it. The monk feels a little weaker, but is it that the monk feels weaker, or that the barb is too overpowered? Something to consider. Balance, not a huge concern in a technical alpha. Obviously, balance will probably be changing for quite some time in the game. So, you know, I guess if we're talking about feedback or just Diablo stuff in general, it really boils down to how it feels. Like, does it feel good to play the monk? Actually, yeah, it does. It feels quick. It feels like I'm playing a monk. I think overall, if I were doing a little bit more damage, it'd feel a bit more impactful, but the skills feel really nice to use, and I think that they work really well together. At least the ones that they give you right off the bat. We'll see what we can do. I think it's 18. I might unlock something. Let's double check that. Skills. Yeah, 18 I unlock. Shield of Zen. Hey! It's not named after me, but I like it. You can turn off the chat on the bottom, by the way. It doesn't have to be open, but it is nice that it's there. I was playing earlier, and someone got the world first on the technical alpha, obviously. Rift level 30. And it popped up. It said, hey, so-and-so got Rift level 30, world first. And it was like, oh, cool. I like that. It's kind of like when you're playing Diablo 3 and someone completes a conquest or stuff like that during a season for the first time. And it's like, hey, you know, so-and-so got world first conquest. It's like, I like that a lot. It's cool. There's a thing on the door. Break it open. What's down here?
Too late.
Death has a way of following you, stranger.
Shut up, Zool. You're cool, but keep your mouth shut. You're gonna curse me. Oop, hit the wrong button.
I didn't kill her, if that's what you're thinking.
Of course you didn't. No, I recognize my old student's handiwork. The body's still warm, too. You may wish to stand back. Reanimation can be unpredictable.
Okay. Should I actually stand back? Is it gonna do damage to me? Oh, I have a guide thing that wants me to upgrade an item. Actually, we may do that when we head back to the town.
Rathma, guide my voice to the soul of the recently slain. Return to us, child. We have one final task for you.
Stop torturing me! I didn't do anything! I told you everything!
It's all right. No one can hurt you anymore. You are safe now. That woman, the one who hurt you, what did she want?
She wanted the location of the Queen's tomb. I told her I didn't want you, but she made me. They buried the Queen in the old garden, hid her tomb underneath, so no one would ever disturb her rest. I failed Estella. I failed my Queen.
Poor girl. I'll stay here, ensure she's properly interred. You, however, need to get to that tomb. Do not let Lethis near the Queen's body.
Oh, leveled up.
The gods favor me.
You can tell we're leveling up quite quickly. And it's something that I've noticed is as a player jumping in for the first time on my barb, I'm like, oh goodness, this is happening really fast. Like I'm gaining a lot of levels. And at first I thought that was going to be a bit of an issue. I was a little worried about it. I mean, I say that as someone who leveled this last season in Diablo 3, season 22, in an hour and a half solo from 0 to 70, 1 to 70. So it's not like I'm complaining that I'm leveling quickly. I like leveling quickly. Again, you're playing an action RPG. It's an isometric action RPG in particular, where you're getting loot and everything, and a big part of it is trying to be efficient.
Thank the gods you found me. My patrol and we were ambushed by the undead, and my sword was broken in the fray. I barely escaped. Without a weapon, I've got no chance of making it to Guard's Watch. If you can wrest a usable blade from the risen dead nearby, I'll be in your debt.
Something to consider, though, is that let's select this. We can go do this. I really enjoy, on my first playthrough of a top-down isometric action RPG. Like a good example is Torchlight 3 recently, or even things like Wilson, the Van Helsing games, like all of that stuff. The first time I play through it, I'm not going for efficiency. I'm just playing through and having fun.
Skeleton's weapons are too pitted to be of use. Perhaps one still lies with the guard's former patrol.
And the same thing goes for Diablo 3 when it first came out. I was all about just leveling up, having fun, enjoying the story, seeing everything, exploring every little nook and cranny. Because that's what I enjoy the first time I play, and I want to do that with Immortal, obviously, because again, that's how I tend to play. But the issue I was finding is that I'm leveling very quickly, and I'm feeling like, oh, in order to keep up with everything, do I have to keep pushing forward? Do I have to push forward and not explore as much as I want to? The answer to that is no, not necessarily. You're fine to keep doing what you want, but it was an immediate concern when I first started noticing that was going to be the case, like leveling quickly. Another thing that they do that seems to help that a bit is they go through and space out when you're actually getting abilities. You get a bunch right off the bat, so you have like a full toolkit, as you see. So you don't really have to wait very long to get some cool abilities. But then you have to wait till like level 18 to get something else, right? So like they spaced it out quite a bit. And as you can hear just at the end there, that's where the rest of my audio starts breaking for the rest of this video. It's kind of unfortunate, but I'm just going to replace the cable and it'll be all good. So that also means that you get my, I guess in hindsight, commentary for the rest of this video too, which actually there's a lot of value in that because I get to, talk about the systems without having to worry about playing the game. It's kind of hard to do talking about video games while you're playing them at the same time. But one thing that I'm loving so far about Diablo Immortal, and in fact Diablo 4, but we'll talk about that just in a moment, are these little tiny dungeons that you go into. Now, there's no exception to it, a Diablo game. You know, you play Diablo 2, you come across a crypt, you know, or a cave in Act 1, and you're like, I'm gonna go into it, and you go into it. You have no reason to go in there, but you go into it, and sometimes you find some cool stuff, and sometimes you don't. It's just how it is. And that's part of Diablo, is going around and exploring and finding loot and doing that kind of stuff. Now, when it comes to Diablo Immortal and Diablo 4, these areas are not public areas. The area we were at before, coming into here, is a public area. Obviously, we were running into other players. They're all over the place. It's really kind of fun. I like that. I like running into the other players and being able to make friends or create a party or just be able to have other people that are there, because it makes the game feel a little bit more populated than I'm playing this single player experience. Some people, that's not going to be for everybody, but for me, it definitely is. And on top of that, you know, if you're adding that into Diablo 4, which it is, it's just kind of showing you that their design philosophy is that, hey, this should be more of a thing. And I agree with it. I think it's a really cool system. It's not unique. Other games have done it, have attempted it as well, and for the most part, it works. But I think that they do it really well here. Now, like I said,
the Queen's spirit will lead the way to the Black
Yeah, Skeletal Mage will kill you. Yeah, it works really well in Diablo 4. It's the same thing. You're running around in public areas, and then these little dungeon areas, or I want to call them dungeons, these little mini areas that I'm in right now, are completely private, and you can go in with a group, or you could do it solo. And I like that, because it gives you a sense of like, yeah, the world is populated, but when I'm in this dungeon, it is dangerous. And I'm either alone here, or I have friends, and it is still dangerous even with friends. But this little area is not necessarily like a dungeon in any sense. Coming up, you know, once we get 10-15 minutes later, we'll get an actual like dungeon, and I'm not going to spoil what you fight or anything you do in there, because it's really freaking cool. But at the end of the day, it is a dungeon in the sense of something that you might expect to see in a World of Warcraft or something like that. So essentially, you can group up with them. I think they're called activities in Immortal. I think that's what they just decided to call them, even though it's more like a group activity, like, hey, you can get people in to come do this, or you could go do it solo. I did it solo on my barb, and I had no issue with it. But yeah, it is like group content, and I think that is really, really cool, because it feels like group content. It feels like you're fighting a World of Warcraft raid boss or dungeon boss in a lot of senses, and you'll see what I mean when we get there. It's not in this episode, but it is coming up in the next one. I love it. I think it, like I said, I think it is so freaking cool, and I like that system is in Diablo 4 as well. Except in Diablo 4, it's more like, what's a good way to put it? It's more like you do have dungeons, and those dungeons, once you get to max level, is part of like the main thing that you're doing, because you can get modifiers on those dungeons, and with those modifiers you can, you know, have like your end game content, like maybe the dungeons are more difficult, and it's kind of like running Greater Rift keys, right? But instead of you doing it solo all the time, you can invite your friends to be like, look, this is a really difficult one, and I know that your character build works really well for this specific modifier on this dungeon. I like that. I think it's really cool. Also, we found our first goblin here. This is the first goblin I've seen in Immortal. It's a Gilded Baron, so it's just going to drop gold. But hey, it's good to know that they're there. I didn't know that they were there. Like I said, I hadn't seen one yet. I did catch a goblin in Diablo 4 in one spot, and I thought that was kind of cool. It was a cool little moment, being like, oh hey, they have treasure goblins. But I wasn't expecting it in Immortal.
Not yet.
But you know,
not yet.
it's there, and I think that's quite fun. One last thing that I wanted to talk about as we kind of move forward is the Battle Pass thing. So Battle Pass is not it's not a new concept. Battle Pass is available in many other games like Fortnite or Rainbow Six Siege, you know, things like that. And it is going to be an option for players of Diablo Immortal. So what it does is you have a free progression that you're going to get. You don't have to do anything. You're just going to start progressing the battle pass just by playing the game, and you're gonna get free things out of just playing. It's cool. It's great. But if you want additional stuff, you don't need it. I think that is key. Is if you are a Diablo player and you are used to farming things out, like you're used to just doing rifts over and over and over and getting a bunch of loot, that's not gonna be a new concept for you. But if you are someone who just doesn't have the time for that, or you know that this is a free game, you download this game for free and you get all the content in it. But if you want to kind of boost your progress, now it's not pay to win, keep that in mind. It's not pay to win, you're not buying power. But if you want to boost your progress, you can buy the battle pass and gain some additional stuff from it, which is really cool.
Ah, hello again. I assume you followed the surge of energy here as well? Lethis never did have the patience for subtlety. Come, we must find the source of this profane rite. At its apex, we will find my wayward apprentice.